So Billy, obviously I know you very well, but tell me a bit about yourself. Tell me 5 facts about yourself.
Yeah, gosh, I can sit here and talk all day.
We know, man.
Right, so my name is Billy. I'm the sales manager at IPG. A little bit about myself. I started in the property industry around 10 years ago. I found quite a niche market in property investments, particularly working during my time doing mortgages with overseas investors, people who had the appetite to buy in the UK. And I saw a gap in the market, and I kind of transitioned over into the property industry. So all in all, I've been working in properties for about 10 years now. I can't say I see myself doing anything different. I'm very passionate about what I do. I absolutely love the industry, the life-changing impact it has on my clients. I'm very client-centric. What I'd say a little bit about my personal life: I'm a keen cricketer. I used to be a semi-professional cricketer.
Okay.
Until I dislocated my shoulder on a banana boat, but that's a story for another time.
No showing off.
I'm a family man, you know, and I always have been. And
You are, mate. I've noticed that about me.
yeah,
You are.
yeah. What about you? What about you, Tom? Again, I know you, but people watching at home.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm the senior investment consultant here at IPG. Been working in the industry now for 6 years. Started off originally doing conveyancing, which as we know is property law. Didn't quite enjoy it. It wasn't quite giving me the exposure to property that I wanted it to. I'm very much a visualizer, if you will. So for me, the reason why I've always loved property so much, and really what my obsession has been with it, is the actual craftsmanship of it, is the actual building process, the building itself, what it's going to look out onto, where it's located, all of that is really what has made me fall in love with what I am doing. More to a personal note, I suppose. I do come from a farming background in Yorkshire, for those at home if you can't tell. I am very much born and raised Yorkshireman, always been into my football, and more so into fighting for the discipline side of it in my later years, but always very much being a footballing man.
You goalkeeper?
Yeah, I was for a short period. Feels like a dig, but I was for a short period of time, yes, and then made my way up front, and then to IPG.
Perfect. Let's get right into it. Tom, break down 3 important terms investors need to know.
Yeah, of course. Number 1 again would be your gross yield, what it is that you're going to be earning back from the property itself. How you work this out, it's the annual rent divided by the purchase price. Typically in Liverpool you'd be aiming to 7 to 9%, I'd say 10% pushing it a little bit. An example of that would be our project, Westminster Points, over in the L3 region. That particular area right now is generating 8% gross yields, 6 to 7% on a net, depending on the apartment itself. Which of course an incredible return based on your investment, especially when we compare it to areas such as London.
Well, everyone keeps talking about L3, don't they?
Yeah.
It's certainly an area on the rise.
Yeah, it's almost becoming the new residential corridor of Liverpool, which is nice. It's impressive and it's nice to be part of something, the upcoming of an area, I suppose. Another one would be loan to value. This is the percentage of your loan that's covered by the mortgage. Typically, most investors will leverage the funds and do 75% mortgage, 25% down payment, and it would be what I would recommend as well. Third and final would be off-plan. Now we deal a lot with off-plan. This is where you purchase the property during the building phase of the development. Typically this will come at a discounted rate.
Yeah.
We aim for 15%, usually 15 to 20% if we can. The benefits of buying off-plan is, number 1, I've just mentioned there, is of course the equity growth. You're buying it at a discounted rate.
And you can pick your own unit, you know, before it goes into fruition. You can pick your own unit, your spec, you know, kind of have a personalised touch to it as well.
And that is the exact kind of benefit that our investors get working with us anyway, is that we are, especially with existing investors, they will get those first picks. They will be able to meet us at our offices and physically select which apartment is going to be theirs, which I think is, well, it's fantastic and it's amazing to be able to offer something like that.
Being able to have a unit you like in an area that's growing, booming, in a market like Liverpool, it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's a perfect combination, isn't it? I've got £100,000 and I want to invest it in the UK property market. What's my best route?
Yeah, so look, think of it this way. You've come with £100,000. would you rather put that £100,000 into a property in London on the outskirts, a small studio, maybe a 1-bedroom, worth £400,000?
Likely a cupboard, potentially.
Yeah, potentially very likely in London. You generate a 3% yield gross, more than likely. Or you split that into 2 properties in the north, maybe one in Liverpool, one in Manchester, worth £200,000 each. In Liverpool and Manchester, you've got prime location, you've got luxury, good quality property. You're getting an 8%, maybe a 9% yield in an up-and-coming market, which is growing in economy, population, stature, more opportunities, more regenerating. Or London, which has almost kind of, with £100,000, you miss the boat in London. You kind of go on the outskirts, which defeats the purpose of you going, or especially someone who's wanting to start a portfolio. Whereas in the north, you're going in the right time, in the right location.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, you've got 2 different streams of income. You've got 2 different, 2 separate tangible assets which are growing in value, allowing you the opportunity to then refinance in the future, pull some money out, and reinvest into other locations. I think that's why we find clients come to us and ask for consultations, because a lot of the time, there's a lot of people out there with 100K and not really having an idea as to where best to put that 100K.
Yeah.
So what we provide is not just, I could give you a property worth £400,000 in London. Is it the right investment though? Is the kind of question I'd ask as a consultant, and I'd ask you as an investor as well. Because ultimately, your long-term goal is to build a portfolio, and that happens through capital appreciation, giving you the potential to refinance. And you do that in emerging market, not so much a well-built market, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does, absolutely. I think, because why really would you want to force an investment in London, given, don't get me wrong, it's got a fantastic history, but it's also grown rapidly.
Yeah, saturated,
massively saturated. When you could have, even more so on the front, that you've then got a diverse portfolio as well. You're not putting all your eggs in one basket,
100%.
which I do know investors as well that have been burnt by doing that, because London, as much as it is an amazing market, it's also been where every developer in the country's been going to for the past 50 years. So you've also had a lot of buildings which haven't been built to standard, which will likely be, with a 400K budget, what you're looking at.
Yeah, look, you look at the general dynamic of investors in the country, you're finding there's a large increase of investors in the north, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Now, these are not just first-time investors who have successful portfolios down south, but they're now noticing and understanding the potential of kind of replicating exactly what they've done in London over the past 20 years, but now having the potential to repeat that in Manchester or Liverpool over the next 20 years.
Yeah.
So it's a no-brainer for anybody who understands how the market dynamic works, and understanding that London is, you kind of missed the boat with London now, and the north is where the investments are.
And I'm sure if you ask those investors that did do that 20, 30 years ago, would you do it again if you had the opportunity?
100%.
Absolutely, every single one would say yes, wouldn't they? So it only makes sense.
Yeah. So what are the ways property actually pays you, Tom?
There's quite a few actually. So first and foremost is your rental yield. That's your cash flow. That's what's going to be bringing in the revenue and income for you. Number 2 is naturally capital growth. That's the appreciation on the value of your property, which ties quite nicely in with the refinancing, and this is where the money is made. So the huge attraction to many of my investors anyway, especially Southern and Middle East based investors, is the level of growth that the northwest of the UK is seeing. Now, if you were to look again at one of our projects, for example, you'd be looking at a 15% below market value. Now, what that means to you as an investor is that if you purchase this property now at, let's say, £200,000, £100,000, whatever it may be, £200,000, let's say, by the time that then comes to complete, you're going to get a revaluation on that at 230, which means therefore you've just made £30,000 for a 25% investment. And that's all yours that you can then take out and look at the next one, which is one of the more favourable strategies me and my investors use. Another one will be the tax benefits. You've got the resale profits as well, naturally, but that's for later down the line. That's once the portfolio's up and running, and you can start to pick off ones which maybe aren't doing as well as others, and sort of start to rejuggle that.
Yeah. I guess that's why a lot of these savvy investors, smart investors, opt in for properties as opposed to stocks and shares, because the transparency, the fact that it's very diverse and gives you different streams of income, different ways you can refinance your money. Whereas stocks, I mean, as good as they can be, they're also very, very volatile. And you know, a couple of tweets by Elon Musk, and all of a sudden the shares drop. We see it happen all the time. You know, I speak to investors who have, you know, investments in other sectors, shares and stocks being one of them.
Yeah.
And as much as it's a bit of fun, it's not for the long term. Whereas we find property being a tangible asset,
absolutely,
it's certainly one that's preferred when it comes to building generational wealth.
Yeah, 100%.
I guess probably the right terminology.
Yeah, your stocks and your shares are your quick wins, aren't they? I mean, if we're talking, like you say, generational wealth, a wealth building tool, then there's really has and never will be anything that can quite match.
And you know, we're lucky that the UK market actually offers a solid legal framework when it comes to buying a property. A transparent market, and it's one that's got a history, years and decades of you know, growth, almost through every kind of a downfall. You look in the past 20 years, you know, we've had everything from a Brexit to COVID, financial crisis, credit crunch, and the market's it's bounced back. You know, 50 years ago, average property price being £10,088 to now £300,000. We're talking at, you know, 500% increase every 10 years. So there's no doubt in my mind that if you're looking for a solid generation building vehicle, property is the way to go.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So Tom, recommend me something in Liverpool.
My number one recommendation, hands down, is Westminster Point. A particular unit would be the 2 bedrooms, 810, 2 bedroom, 663 square feet, a corner unit with a balcony, southeast facing.
Nice.
So you've not only just got the views of, well, you've got the wraparound of the River Mersey, but you can also see into where you can see the Anglican Cathedral, you can see the radio tower from there, and parts of the business district as well, which, as we know, is a huge factor for tenants and, of course, for buying and selling later down the line. The price of that particular property is 296. That's a launch price. The valuation, estimated valuation on completion, with the below market value rating that we're selling it at, is £340,000, which means in the next 18 months, you're going to see a capital appreciation of £44,000, which is a huge amount in a very short period of time. The key factors as to why I'm so big on this particular project, it's named as part of one of Liverpool's most notorious regeneration projects, known as the Pumpfields Regen Zone. Now, what this zone is and what it's very, very quickly becoming is the new residential corridor of Liverpool. You've got developers such as ourselves, such as Legacy as well, who have also stepped in. The project that they've got, the Gateway, is slightly pricier, well, sort of £40,000 pricey, but it's a good indication as to where the price of that area is heading. Your yield expectations on that unit are going to be long-term, 6.5%. Massively jumps up when we look at the short-term approval that Westminster Point has. Again, a huge factor for me, being able to have the choice between both long-term and short-term. Your short-term net yield on that particular apartment will be 10.1%, which is amazing. I mean, the sort of, I suppose, to put that in a cash perspective for you, you're looking at sort of 3.5, 3.8 net every month, which is astronomical. It's unbelievable.
It is.
And these are all stats as well that are backed up by Curlet Jones. These are all stats that are live, that are evidence stats. So it's really amazing to be partnered with people such as Curlet Jones to be able to offer our investors that and to be able to say, this isn't just us sort of freeballing it and hoping for the best. These are real projections. These are real stats and real data that we're basing these things off. So for me, that project stands out. I mean, again, you're only 10 minutes from the docks, Liverpool Lime Street, Anfield's to the right of you, the Everton Stadium's to the left of you. So again, both long-term and short-term, you're laughing.
Yeah.